Hey, I'm really excited to be bringing you the 11th Jinky Transit edition of my reflections. Still trying to find a good way to introduce it. But yes, the Jinky of light on this day of way too much light. I, in fact, had to block quite a bit of my dome because it was just sun is streaming nonstop. So yes, this day of light, the Jinky of light, the transit of light, the cordon ring of light, and this Jinky does not appear in my hologenetic profile, but does appear 3 times in my overall natal chart. So I feel it quite strongly, resonated with it from the first time I read it, and this week in particular, I think I got an epiphany. It's funny, with the Jinkies, I've been at it for like a year and a half, and I tell you, every time, a certain stage of evolution, or even just some time passes, life experience, I'm reading this Jinky and going, I so totally get it, but I so totally don't remember it saying this in the previous times I read it in the months past. So yes, let's start with shadow obscurity. In general, for me, shadows are a bit of hard work. It's kind of good that Richard says only put 10% of attention on the shadow, because that's what it is like for me. I'm sure it's some sort of a self-delusion, but hey, like I can't. If I'm not really seeing it, I'm not seeing it, right? But the way I understand obscurity is basically if you try to look for truth outside of yourself. It's been said in many different ways. People get their own individual truth, and then they get like, oh my God, it's basically what's happening to me right now. Oh my God, I want to share it with everybody because it just like makes life so much easier and more enjoyable. And then in the sharing and then externalizing it, um, is when it gets obscured, because now it's my truth being put out in some sort of a limited capacity, words or images or whatever, and then other people looking at it through their lenses. This is where the obscuration happens. Is this like externalization of internal truths? That's how I understand it. So this week, how it's been playing out for me is I was really aware of this like this. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh my God, it's been great. This transit has been so good. So I was really aware that here I am trying to communicate my truth, and then there's this desire, like, oh, I read certain Jinky quotes, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like so, like, it really encapsulates what it's all about. But I know that it's been different quotes encapsulating different things throughout my journey, so I know enough by now not to just go ahead and kind of just quote it, thinking that this is it. No, this is what I'm seeing right now for me reflecting. So how to communicate something that's not meant to be communicated, and it will only get obscured if I try to do it. So so the trying to restrain the desire to just communicate what I see and I feel, even though of course it's part of it. Like, okay, my message to the world is gonna be like whatever, however I see life, and this is what I want to share. But at the same time, I guess how to make that message clear that it's not like this isn't like, oh, this is my way and you gotta go my way and then you'll find happiness kind of thing. No, it's like, share, this is what I've discovered and this is what it's been important and profound to me, but this is how you can find your own truth. Basically, this is where I'm driving at. Like, this is the kind of the tricky part, not to have people look at my truth and agree or disagree or whatever with it, but get the like how to communicate. The point is, I'm just using so many words to just say one simple thing. I gotta work on that. Yeah, how to emphasize the fact that this what I'm trying to communicate and share is how you can find your own truth, basically. And that's the only truth that will ever be true to you, is your own truth. And it's about finding ways to find that truth inside rather than looking outside. Like even I mean, that's probably a bulk of personal development work. I get inspired. I like certain things people say, or certain things they do, or kind of wisdom they share. But yeah, basically, it's just gotta be careful not to. Yes, get inspired. Yes, see what resonates, but not like see what resonates and take it as your own, but see what resonates and kind of reflect on, well, what is it awaken in me? So yes, don't get obscured. Keep looking for your own truth. And then we move on to the gift. I move on to the gift. Idealism. This is where for me, the big thing, the big nugget was this week, because what I realized is that this bliss identification, first of all, it talked all about that. Like, look, you choose yourself an ideal, or more often than not, it chooses you. It's a language of archetypes. It's not, but don't identify with it. Don't think that, oh, this thing appeared to me, it came through me, or I've experienced it, so now I'm that. And this is where I caught myself. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is what's happening to me. So an archetype of bliss is moving through me. I'm super grateful, out of all the siddhic state, that this archetype, this state chooses me, because it's nice. I tell you, it's nice to live in bliss. And but yeah, so wasn't so much the warning. It was like, this is it. The archetype of bliss chose me. It's moving through my life. It's expressing through me, and to the point where I feel like I just can't help myself. I want to share. But this is an archetype. Don't identify. Be grateful. Welcome. It might not last forever. It's just a certain, yeah, well, you know what archetype is. It's a certain concept, a certain universal idea and a character thing that's expressing through me. So that was really, really cool. So I'm like, okay, this is it then. And what it says about in the Gene Key 11, the idealism, is that choosing an archetype elevates you out of the routine life. It gives you wings. That's how I interpreted it. It elevates you to higher frequencies, gives you like this uplift currents, to go higher and higher and higher. So yeah, it was really cool. Like, it was already happening, but then when this Gene Key 11 happened and I was reading about it, I'm like, it kind of like, oh, this is what's happening. It's like an explanation, so to speak, of what's happening. So, okay, what's happening is that there is an archetype moving through me. It's lifting me higher. It's giving me much higher purpose. And they also say, like, yeah, it might be like, it might sound unattainable. Like, in the book they use an example, peace on earth, and for me it's bliss on earth. If everybody just lived in bliss, the world would be a completely different place. We'll all be super happy. So yeah, bliss on earth is my ideal, and it gives me wings, and it gets me out of bed in the morning, and it obviously makes my personal life super, super ecstatically good. And yeah, here I am sharing my archetype, an ideal of bliss, a life of bliss with you. So yeah, obviously I'm super excited. I like when things click, right brain, whatever, Gene Keys, but I'm a born and bred left brain girl. So when things make sense and they click, I get excited. So then, yeah, with that excitement, let's move on to the genius. Genius? No, the siddhi. The siddhi, basically kind of the enlightened state. And here the siddhi is that of light. Light. And I have a long history with light as well. I read the book recently on luminous life. Highly recommend. So it's all about how like light enters our eyes and how it's really meant to guide us through life. And a lot of the concepts were very similar to the Gene Keys, so I like that a lot. and the fact that there's the 4 gene keys making up the codon ring of light. So it's like a special grouping that specifically governs how in the body we take in the frequency of light and what we do with it. And all 4 of them are in fact in my profile, all 4 of them. And I mean, I can just describe, like, the way they describe it is in fact my lived experiences. I said first it's like, imagine you're in complete darkness, and then for the first time you see just like a pinprick of light, momentary pinprick of light, but you see it clearly because you've been living in complete darkness your whole life. And then that pinprick kind of maybe lasts a little longer, and then a little bit later you see another pinprick somewhere else, and then they can start to appear and disappear and glimmer, come in and out, longer and longer. And then, slowly it turns like into a starry night sky, lots of pinpricks of light. And then they start to coalesce in like big suns and big galaxies and Milky Ways and stuff. So more and more and more light appears in this darkness. And then where at some point you realize like, wow, there's more light than darkness. And then there's just mostly light and only little bits of darkness remain. And this is basically the analogy to the the evolution from the viewpoint of the gene keys. And I guess I could also say that that's been my experience of bliss, what I was trying to like verbalize all up until now. So the light is the point of awareness. We live in this completely darkness, unaware, sleep lives, just going through the motions, and then a moment of awareness appears, and then another one, and then maybe it lasts a little longer than a moment. So that's how, the light of consciousness spreads. And suddenly there's more states of aware and conscious kind of states than asleep states. And then those little bits of asleep states, that's what they call shadows, and you just kind of like shine some light on them and see that there is also nothing but light. And like I said, and that was also kind of my progression of this experience of bliss, which bliss is in fact one of the gene key siddhis. I don't claim to live in a siddhic state. To myself I do, publicly I don't. Because I know that well, 2 reasons, many reasons, but one of the 2 that come to mind is one of the main distinctions is when the ego disappears. And I can tell you, like, the ego is very much there, the sense of self. It's my sense of self that perceives bliss, that perceives unity, that perceives the kind of like my connection to all that is here and stuff. But the sense of self is very much still there. But look, I'm not, it talks a lot about seeking in the gene keys in a lot of spiritual communities. I don't seek to have the sense of self disappear, or I don't want any other state. Like, life is so tremendously, overwhelmingly good and blissful that I don't want to not leave or leave this plane or not reincarnate again or any of those things. Like, I love this. This is it. So yeah, I'm not seeking anything else. It's more like stuff happens to me and I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like trying to retrofit what's happening to me to things I read and things I understand. So yeah, and that's how I can tell you that, yes, I experience bliss. It's just lots of pleasurable sensations. It's very much an internal outpouring like a fountain. It's physical, but it's not this like myself has disappeared and I'm just one with the universe. One with the universe is still kind of more of a mental concept for me. I understand it. And we're just like as Alan Watts puts it, that the universe is just as the ocean waves behind me, the universe peoples. So we're just little waves of the universe. So yeah, I very much feel like a peopling wave. But I still feel like this particular peopling wave. I'm not feeling like the entire universe yet. Yet, we'll see. But anyway, I digress. I digress. It's the heat. Oh, and another reason why I definitely know I don't live in a city state is because vanity, which is the programming partner to Jinky 11, is the Jinky 12 with its shadow of vanity. Is Jinky 11 is my south node, one of the positions, so which means it's something that's a given. That kind of I didn't have really to work for it. I arrived there at the ripe old age of 40. And then Jinky 12 is a north node, so something that's kind of an aspiration and a working towards and a last frontier. So yes, shadow of vanity, which in the Jinky definition is not just like, oh, I'm so great. It's more like the whole concept of having an ego. As long as you're feeling like you're a self, a me, that's vanity still. So yeah, it's alive and well in me. But at the same time, like, who's to say, acidic state is basically when they say it's when the spectrum disappears. So maybe, maybe I am in acidic state, because it's like, it's not like the highest frequency. It's when the way I understand it mentally is when the spectrum disappears. And whether you're in the shadow, the gift, or the enlightened state, it's all one and the same. And that very much, I do feel that very much I feel. Not just intellectually, I feel it. I revel in my shadows. I enjoy the feelings of oneness and just bliss, just sitting there. I enjoy the gift. Like for me, the gift it's when we're something actively doing. So yes, I enjoy that the whole energy coming through me and wanting to do and act and it just moves me. I'm like a little puppet. I gotta go on social media. I gotta go make a video. Yes, my ideal of Jinky 11 has moved me to make this video. Moves me to draw the unicorns. It's just, yeah, so good. So good. I just wish I did more. Timelessness is my pearl and is also my south node by design. So maybe I gotta tap into that a bit more and create more time in the timelessness. Or in the contrary, not want to do more. So like it's all those relative concepts that don't exist in a timeless and spaceless reality. Well, now I really am rambling. So Jinky 11, had lots of fun with it this week. Almost like it's, I'm like grappling. I don't want it to end. It's so good. But yeah, interesting. I'll be curious to see which one's next because that was the cotton ring of life. Also didn't realize the cotton rings go sequentially. This one did. I wonder if all the other ones do as well. I'll start looking out for it from now on. But yeah, this one went 5, 9, 26, 11, which is the 4 jinkies making up the cotton ring of life. No, I don't want to hang up. I just want to keep talking. Yes, today was very creative. I was doing videos of me cooking and then experimenting with time lapses, and then I couldn't wait to make this video. Now I don't want to hang up. I want to keep talking. But there's nothing else to say. I'll just invite a little pause to see if anything else will arise. Yeah, I remember now. I'm supposed to promote my stuff. So I'm working on this email course. I was hoping to do it by Christmas, but I don't know if it's gonna work or not because I am also honoring my timelessness. So yeah, all about how I got to the state, I guess, for lack of a better word, and going back to the shadow obscurity as a reminder, not like, oh, do what I do or think what I think and you'll get there too, but more like this is the path I took or this is where I looked, go look there kind of thing. So I'm still, like I said, that's why this Jinky was really helpful this week as I was putting it all together to remind me to just point and encourage you to find your way and not share my way. I can light up, the ideal, light up the ideal, follow that way. Anyway, I gotta stop talking. Thank you very much for listening, tuning in. I love you. Live in bliss or in whatever other siddhic state or archetype will choose, an ideal will choose to express itself through you.